Hello, good morning, universe. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome back. I'm Crystal Z, and I am your partner in helping you to improve your public speaking. And in this episode, I would like to help you how we can make or how to structure your speech. So there will be a lot of things that we need to prepare, especially in structuring our speech. So what do you think, in your opinion? So you can write it down. What exactly the most important part, especially if you would like to structuring your speech. All right. So I will probably give you several time. Yeah, before we jump into this topic. So in this topic, probably the highlight, I will share several tips from my personal experience. And yeah, because I joined two communities in my previous back then in Ritzone and also at Toastmasters. And if you are a member of a Toastmasters, of course, you might probably already practicing yourself in preparing your speech or structuring. Alright, so I think I would give you enough time to write it down. What is the most important part, especially if you would like to structure your speech? So you can check on your writing or on your point about what is the most important part when you structure your speech. Alright, so the first one is start with a strong opening that grab the audience attention. So what actually strong opening? What exactly that mean? So the strong opening is needed, especially to attract the audience. So the audience will be curious. So we need to make the audience curious in order to listen to our speech. So our speech, you could say as a story, right? Your personal story, your story. What is the story behind your topic? All right. So we need to have that kind of what we called a strong opening. So it could be a question, it could be a statement, it could be pro and cons. And it's a first statement, yes, it could be almost everything. Alright, so there would be a question. For my example, I used to throw a question to the audience in the first 5 seconds. Oh, by the way, have you ever heard there is an announcement or advertisement mentioning the first 5 seconds is yours and the next is up to you? So, well, actually, that is so true. I'm not quite really sure how much time, like a love at the first sight. So, first impression is really important. It could be less than 5 seconds, probably, or less than 10 seconds. I'm not quite really sure. So, it depends on how you attract, or your first impression attract the audience. Alright, so yeah, of course, a strong opening. So in my case, my personal experience, when I would like to deliver a speech, I used to giving a questions or giving a statement, and I could also a quote. Like, for example, do you believe in a love at first sight? Right? So that is one of the example. Giving a strong opening that grabs the audience attention. In my personal experience, I would give that kind of questions at the very beginning of the speech. So it will make the audience curious. Okay, so now I already got the audience attention. What's next? Of course, you can actually browsing or ask your friends, or you can write it down. What is the strong opening that you can make, especially that relating to the topic of your speech? Alright, so that's the number one. The strong opening that grabs the audience attention. And you can also watch all of the relate video on the YouTube of how you can practice, especially in order to improve your opening message or opening, a strong opening that grabs audience attention. Alright, so number two, So the number two, that would be, when you deliver a message, or when you deliver a speech, or when you're delivering a story, what is the most important part, the whole things, the whole idea? Of course, definitely, it would be the story, or it would be a message. It could be a point. It could be anything. So we need to have a clear message, and then we need to stick to it. If you have a different topic with the message, as long as that the message is so much related with the topic, it could be connected. Alright, so for example, my topic is about a healthy life give you a healthy mind. And in order to send your message, the clear message is you would like to drive or give a story of your personal experience of how you need to maintain a healthy life, because it will lead you into a healthy mind. So you can give an example, you can give your story, your personal story. It could be, it could be anything, or it could be your friend's story. It could also be added into your speech, right? As long as that, of course, you need to ask the permissions of your friend, or if your friend didn't attend, you probably could use your friend's story. And of course, we need to have a clear message, and we need to stick to it. And therefore, in order to have a clear message, you need to write it down, right? So you need to write it down or drafting your speech. And it could always have a lot of form. For example, when you're drafting your speech, you probably need to write it really in detail. But in my perspective, in my opinion, I could deliver a speech spontaneously. So I just keep it in order, or just keep it and stuck into my mind. Alright, so this is the first line, or this is the first point, and I would like to elaborate, and then the second, the third part, and fourth, fifth, 6, 7, and 8, and so on. Alright, so we need to stick with a clear message, because that is the thing that we would like to deliver when we would have, when we have a message or a story behind that message. It could be used as a tool, or it could be used as, a props that would help you in order to describe what exactly the message that you would like to deliver to the audience. Or one of a way to to propose to the audience, this is my perspective, this is my point of view, and this is how I see things, and therefore this message is so important. By having a healthy life, it definitely could lead you into a healthy mind. Why I said that? So that's one of the example. After you give remind the message again, you can give another story, a different story, or the continuous story of what exactly you would like to implement, or when you would like to elaborate another point. Why? So the first one is already been elaborated to the audience, and of course there will be a second and the third and the fourth, right? So that is how, in my perspective, we need to have a clear message. And of course, we need to stick to it, because if you're not sticking to your message, your story could go elsewhere. Alright, so sometimes there's a funny story I have. At that time, my mind are so having like wandering around. And probably it caused, probably because I lack of practice. And I was reading a session at that time in Bridgezone, and I'm talking about a book that I wrote, and it suddenly, in the middle of nowhere, it got blank, and that is exactly what happened. So, ladies and gentlemen, we need to have a clear message and stick to it. All right. So, yeah, you can take from my previous experience. Yeah, we need to have more practice, of course. Okay, so there's the number 2. Have a clear message and stick to it. Alright, so because that is so much important if we would like to deliver or convey our message to the audience, we need to have a clear one and stick to it until the very end. Alright, so the next part for number 3 is use a logical structure such as a problem solution or chronological order. So this is the thing. There's a lot of way when you would like to deliver your speech or your story, right? Or when you tell a story, there would be a lot of things behind it. It could be the weather, it could be the background of your story, and it could be the situation when you deliver the story, and the stage, how was it? It always connected with one another. And it's all, everything are connected, and it's so much related with the message that you would like to convey. From my previous, I share about a question, right, as my opening. Do you believe in a love at first sight? And then I give them a moment to digest the questions, right? So, after that, we continue it. For me, I believe in love at first sight. Why? And then you elaborated the structure. Why? The first point, because nothing is called as a coincidence. And that is the example, right? So there's number 1. And then I elaborate my story, my personal experience, and go to the next stage. Right? So what I called is probably the chronological order. Or probably if you would like to have a problem solve solutions for my previous example, I'm using it as if we have a healthy life, we can lead to a healthy mind. Why? Because you can make yourself healthier than ever, and you can be more prettier. So you can also try to do it. Why we need to do it? Why we need to do it exactly as you said. Yeah, well, I don't know if that are problem solutions. Okay, it's probably chronological order. So problem solutions, probably solutions. Like, for instance, do you know when we a problem solution? Okay, do you know that public transportation is the best solution ever? To solve the bad traffic here in Jakarta. So there is a solution problem, right? Probably, not quite really sure, but yeah. So we can use it, and then after that, of course, you need to elaborate it. Why, and why. So it would be in a chronological order, or it would be a problem solution, right? So there would be a lot of, probably having a dialogue. Like, for example, once upon a time there is a princess. Oh, princess! Or you can have a different sound or a vocal variety. But okay, so maybe next time we're going to focusing on vocal variety. But now we are focusing on structure. Remember, we need to have a clear message and stick to it. All right. All right. So. Yeah, so there's the structure, right? So we need to have a good structure. There would be an opening, body, and also the conclusion or the closing line of what the message that we would like to convey. We need to repeat it once more to our audience. Yeah. so the audience could remember what is exactly the story from the very beginning until the very end, and what kind of message that you would like to give to the audience. It's pretty much like a proposal, right? So it's pretty much like you were having a presentation talking about your personal experience or personal story, and then you share about your presentations, and at the end you can give them a strong message by giving a question or giving a statement or giving a quote. So, do you believe in the love at first sight? So, yeah, I usually do that. I'm giving another questions at the end of my speech. Alright, so that is the number 3. Use the logical structure, alright? And what's next? Of course, with number 4, we have summarize your main point in the conclusion. Alright, when we're talking about the structure, of course, there would be beginning and there would be an end, right? So, at the very beginning, you have a strong opening, right? And at the end, you need to give the conclusions. So, ladies and gentlemen, after we figured out why it's so important to have a healthy life, because it will lead us to a healthy mind. And why is it so much important? First, because, and then you give the first point, second point, third point, fourth point, the conclusion or the resume of all the points that you already shared from the very beginning of your story until the very end. And it will close with a strong message as well. So, that is my story. How about yours? So you can be also like that, alright? So throwing a question for your audience to answer it by themselves. So they can practice to deliver the speech on their version, of course. And yeah, everybody will have or improve their public speaking. Of course, they will never, they don't have a person, they don't need a person like me to help them to sharing tips and tricks, because they're already practicing it by themselves. Alright, so the last part is for number 5. It would be practice your timing to stay within the allocated time. Right, so when you're delivering a speech, when you're drafting, of course, it also related with how you would like to pronounce the word or the delivery technique that you have in order to wrap or make it the whole package all at once when you're delivering a speech, and you can stop or you can finish without overtime. So when you're having, for example, like you're having a speech contest, you need to ensure that your speech are not running over time, otherwise you will get disqualified. So if you are a member of a Toastmasters or a British Zone, of course, we need to really wisely use our time management and need to start before the very end of the time. Like for example, in Toastmasters, we had a pretty much like a traffic speech. We have a green light, we have a yellow light, and we have a red card, or a red light, of course. So, in order to be eligible, we need to stop before the red lights are on, or virtual background, or the allocated time, of course. Yeah, because it's really important. So we already have delivering the speech within the time, and you can also have a Q&A at the end. So you're not running over time and you're not giving, unpleasant or feeling uncomfortable to your audience because you're running over time, right? So sometimes we're having a difficulty tend to stop. So in order to do that, when you're drafting a speech, you can keep on practicing, so you can maintaining what exactly or how long the exactly allocated time to your speech, right? And my feedback would be, or my comment, I think every one of you need to join, or at least have a chance to join a Toastmaster club meetings, and it's all free to just join the club meetings. Or you just need, I mean, you would pay if you would like to become a member, but if you're not a member, you just can join, jump in a club meetings. It could be online or it could be offline. It depends on your country. So I will repeat what we already have learned today is, or practicing today, is about how we structure our speech. Right, so the first one, we need to have a strong opening that grabs the audience attention. It could be 5 seconds or less. It could be 5 or 10. So the first 5 minutes, it's yours, right? The first impression is really important. Alright, so that is the first one. So the second one, we need to have a clear message and stick to it. Alright? Of course, we are not going anywhere. We just need to stick and stay here. And the third one would be use a logical structure such as problem solution or a chronological order. Alright, so it could be a chronological order or problem solution, and then it could be in point. You can elaborate for each point. So what is the number 4? We need to summarize of our main point in the conclusion. Just like what I did now, we are having a resume or summarize of what exactly the main point in our episode today or our podcast today, right? And the last part, it would be practice your timing to stay within the allocated time. So you need to speak within the time and we need to stop before overtime. Alright, so yeah, time is just, for me, time is just like a sword. If we are not using it wisely, it could kill us, right? Because it's a sword, it's like a samurai. I'm not saying that we are a samurai, of course. Alright, so ladies and gentlemen, and every one of you, thank you so much for listening. I hope this podcast can give you the benefit in order to improve and also practice your public speaking or structuring your speech, just like what we have today. Thank you so much, and thank you for listening, and we'll see you again next time. Thank you. Annyeong. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bye bye.